Another day, another Bleacher Report article to react to. This time it comes from Joel Reuter of Bleacher Report. His article is Blockbuster MLB Trade Proposals for Tarek Skubal, Paul Skeens, and more superstars. So I have to go and see what he's got in here. Bleacher Report sometimes has some absolutely crazy trade proposals, and I'd love to break down the possibility of trading some of the best pitchers in all of Major League Baseball, along with other Major League superstars, and see what you could get back, what teams make sense. Let's see what they've got. Before we do, make sure you subscribe to the channel, click that sub button so you don't miss out on the content, and there will be a link, of course, to the article down in the description. Big shout out to Joel again for helping me have some content. He starts off with a lot, and the first one, whoa, a New York Mets trade. Byron Buxton to the New York Mets. Now, this trade has been floated out by Mets fans, by people on the internet for years now, because the Mets have needed a center fielder badly pretty much since they've moved Brandon Nimmo off that position. Brandon Nimmo's no longer there, so they now need two outfielders, and Byron Buxton still very well is a center fielder in Major League Baseball. He's still great defensively. He's got a cannon of an arm. He absolutely flies around the base paths, and he's a great hitter, so it makes a lot of sense. The Mets have a need in center field. Byron Buxton fills that need instantly. He is one of the best center fielders in all of Major League Baseball. The biggest concern with him has always been his health. Can he stay healthy enough to be relied upon in center field? The other issue with this trade is, does Byron Buxton want to be traded? He has a no-trade clause. He spoke many times about how much he loves being in Minnesota. He doesn't want to leave, and even though this team seems to be in, I don't want to say turmoil, because that makes it seem like there's bad things going on. This team is in a rebuild. That's a better word for me to use. Does Byron Buxton want to leave? That will be, I think, the biggest holdup in this, along with the fact that there is some risk to him, mostly with injuries. Let's see what Joel came up with here for a trade. So to the New York Mets, they get Byron Buxton. To Minnesota, they get Jet Williams, Jacob Reimer, and Jonathan Santucci. Buxton's contract has him earning $15.1 million annually through the 2028 season, with escalators if he reaches 502 plate appearances or finishes top 10 in MVP voting, making him a solid bargain relative to market value, and I agree. And I think for a guy like Buxton, this package back may be a little bit on the high side, but truthfully, I don't think it's too ridiculous of an ask from the Twins if they were like, hey, we want Jet Williams, who's one of your top hitting prospects in the minors. We want Jacob Reimer, who is one of your biggest risers in terms of hitting prospects in the minors, someone who's been mentioned in the top 100 prospects, borderline guy. Some publications like him more, some like him less, but there's no doubt that Jacob Reimer can mash. Also, Jacob Reimer, fun story, fan of the channel. When he signed and got drafted by the Mets, I was doing the Mets of the podcast working for the team. We were on the field. He was one of the draft picks there to take pictures and take BP. He comes up to me and goes, Mark, can I get a picture? I love your videos. Crazy stuff. So shout out Jacob Reimer. I don't want to see him go. And then Jonathan Santucci, second round pick by the Mets, I believe, was it last year or a year or two ago? Left-handed pitcher out of Duke. Someone who a lot of the pitching prospect people in baseball really like where he can be headed in the future. So yes, would it be a lot for the Mets to give up for a guy like Byron Buxton? Sure. And ultimately, I don't think the Mets would make this trade. I think if they're going to be trading a lot of these prospects, they're going to be looking more at the starting pitching market or someone who's a little bit younger, maybe a little lower floor, but a little higher ceiling. I don't see the Mets giving up three big prospects like this for Byron Buxton, even though I think that this is a totally fair trade. Like if I was a GM, sure, I'd make this trade. I don't think David Stearns will. And again, I don't know if Byron Buxton would really be willing to actually get traded to the New York Mets. But overall, Joel, off to not a bad start. Like it makes sense. The Mets need center field help. The Twins want prospects. Jet Williams is a major league ready guy probably by the end of the season. Santucci and Reimer maybe in 2 years. This is decent value back. And Byron Buxton is awesome. There's no doubt about it. All right, let's see what the next trade is. Ooh, Jarren Duran to the Kansas City Royals. If you guys saw my bold prediction for the offseason for every single team video, Jarren Duran to the Kansas City Royals was like exactly what I thought would happen. The Royals need outfield help, and the Red Sox have a plethora of outfielders, and they got to get rid of one of them. You're not going to play Roman Anthony, Jarren Duran, Wilyer Abreu, and Ceddanne Rafaela. You can't. There's only 3 spots, and there's 4 of them. And Rafaela is elite in center field. You're not trading Roman Anthony. It's really between Duran and Wilyer Abreu, and it does seem like the Red Sox are leaning towards moving on from Duran rather than Wilyer, and I think that makes sense. I think Wilyer right now is probably the better player than Jarren Duran. Better defense, and at the plate, they're relatively similar in terms of offensive value. So Kansas City would get Jarren Duran. Who would the Royals be sending back? I think the Red Sox were initially interested in Blake Mitchell, so I bet you he's going to be in this trade proposal. The catcher that they drafted a couple years ago. And whoa, okay, it's not. It's Chris Bubich and Carter Jensen. Now, this one is interesting to me because we know Chris Bubich ended the season last year with an injury, did not have a healthy year when he was pitching. He was really good, but there definitely are some health concerns with Bubich. Carter Jensen, I don't know if this would be the prospect that they would really be that interested in right now. Jensen is a good ball player. He is one of the top catching prospects in baseball. He made his major league debut last year, and he's a left-handed bat, which would complement Carlos Narvaez behind the dish very well. But Carter Jensen is someone that I think the Royals plan on playing a lot next season, especially because I think they don't want Salvi catching every single day anymore. The reason I brought up Blake Mitchell again is because the Red Sox were tied to him in draft talks back when he was available in the draft class, and I just don't think that the Red Sox would move on from Duran for a pitcher who's on an expiring contract, because I do believe Bubic is a free agent following next season, and then Carter Jensen, who again is going to be a good catcher. It seems like that might not be the perfect mix. The Royals don't have that much to give up, and Bubic, if healthy, would be a great addition to the Red Sox rotation. That's not what I'm trying to say. It's just I think there are health concerns, along with the fact that Jensen being the kind of, I don't want to say throw-in, but the part 2 of this trade, when Jarren Duran has club control until 2028, I think that they would get a little bit more, or at least a little bit different of a package, but I do love the fit, again, of Jarren Duran to the Royals. I think Joel's on the money there. I think ultimately this is going to be where he ends up, if not San Diego, maybe even the Mets, if the Mets want him in left field. I think there's a lot of teams that could use a corner outfield, or maybe the Phillies could even be interested in a Jarren Duran, but I just don't know if this is the exact package just yet. All right, for the third trade, we've got, Mackenzie Gore down the Beltway to the Baltimore Orioles. Mackenzie Gore to the Orioles would low-key be kind of crazy. Now, the Orioles, of course, have a ton of prospects that they can move and help the Nationals continue with this rebuild, but at the same time, is this the right time for the Nationals to move on from Mackenzie Gore? He showed the ceiling last year at times. Like, the first half of the season was dynamite. Second half, not so much, but the second half of the season for the Nationals was an utter nightmare. And I do feel like while Mackenzie Gore is probably unlikely to sign a long-term extension, which Joel does mention here in the article, I can't see the Nationals moving on from him at this exact moment. Maybe at the deadline you move him, maybe next offseason, but right now it just feels like unless the offer blows the Nationals away, they are unlikely to trade him. I don't think he's completely off the trade block. I don't think he is untradeable, untouchable, kind of like CJ Abrams or James Wood, but I do think that it would take a lot. So let's see what Joel has going back to the Nationals here. Again, he's arbitration eligible through 2027. Like, he's got a lot of control left on this contract. To Washington, they'd get Cade Povich, Dylan Beavers, Esteban Mejia, and Trey Gibson. All right, Cade Povich, I think, is kind of a whatever. He hasn't been very good with the Orioles. I think he is a borderline 5 starter in a rotation right now. I don't really think that's very interesting. Dylan Beavers played great ball for the Orioles down the stretch. He looked really good. Someone who I thought was going to get a lot of playing time, but then they trade for Taylor Ward while also having Tyler O'Neill and Colton Cowser. Feels like there's a lot of outfielders there in Baltimore. Esteban Mejia is one of the most exciting young pitching prospects in all of minor league baseball. Throws like 102 miles an hour. He's absolutely electric. Just need to see him get to higher levels before he really gets that like true ace kind of shine. And then similarly, Trey Gibson is going to be a back-end starter, MLB-ready guy right now. This, to me, not nearly enough to move on from Mackenzie Gore. The fit makes sense. The Orioles need pitching, and Mackenzie Gore could be great in that ballpark, but this is not enough for a guy like Mackenzie Gore, in my opinion. I think the Nationals would just hold on to him at this point. Like, you are getting 4 young, controllable players, but I don't think Beavers plus Mejia really moves the needle enough to then go take Gibson and Povich for a guy like Mackenzie Gore. I don't know if the Nationals would do that, truthfully. I don't think you're far off, but I think there needs to be a little more punch in that trade than there is right now. The only thing that makes me think that maybe they would consider this is because they were so interested in Harleen Susana when they traded Juan Soto that maybe they love that Esteban Mejia is 18 and throws 102, kind of like Susana. All right, next trade, Steven Kwan to Cincinnati Reds. Ugh, God, listen, like, Steven Kwan is a good ball player, and maybe this is me being just annoying, but I can't wait to see how Steven Kwan gets overvalued in this trade. He is a good baseball player, but I think sometimes because he was an average guy, we're starting to overrate him a little bit. I just don't think he has the value that has been attached to him at times. We even heard some of the trade proposals that the Guardians wanted back for Kwan at the deadline last year. They don't have to trade him, so they can ask for whatever they want, but I don't know. Steven Kwan to the Reds, like, he makes him better. I got to see what the trade back is going to be. So Kwan to the Reds in exchange for Tyson Lewis, Chase Petty, and Zach Maxwell. See, if I'm the Guardians, sign me up. Sign me up all day. Tyson Lewis absolutely mashed an A-ball last year. He's a border top 100 prospect right now in minor league baseball. Shortstop, young, good athlete, hits the ball hard. Good stuff from Tyson Lewis. Chase Petty made his major league debut, hasn't been very sharp. The numbers have been all over the place, but in terms of stuff, electric fastball, big stuff, New Jersey guy. And then Zach Maxwell is someone who will go into the bullpen immediately, throws 103 miles an hour. Big fastball on him. I think maybe you could eventually turn him into a starter. I think this would be a very enticing trade trade back for the Cleveland Guardians is exactly what they want. Young, controllable pitching, bullpen, and middle infield. And that's what the Guardians always interested in. Would the Reds do this? Maybe now thinking about it in retrospect, maybe they would, because Kwan would give them something in the outfield which they haven't had in a while, which is just some form of stability. But at the same time, I don't know if more contact is what the Reds need. I think they need a little more pop. And when you look at this team, like Ellie's got the pop, Christian Encarnacion Strand has the pop when he plays, Noel V. Marte has pop, and even Sal Stewart has a little bit of life in that bat, but it does feel like they're a very contact-heavy team. I'd be interested to see if this trade would even work out for both of them. Truthfully, I'd just go sign another free agent to play the corner, find another plug-and-play guy right now. All right, number 5, Freddie Peralta to the New York Yankees. I mean, I keep saying it, and until it happens, like, I don't know where the Yankees are going to put all these guys. Now, maybe they trade a bunch of starting pitching to the Brewers for Freddie Peralta, and it opens up some spots. Let's take a look here and see. All right, so Freddie Peralta into the rotation, and they would give up Carlos LaGrange, Bryce Cunningham, Cade Smith. I think the Yankees would actually do this trade in a heartbeat. I think 100% like LaGrange or Lagrange. I'm not 100% sure how it's pronounced. Apologies. He throws absolute gas, one of the top pitching prospects in their system. Bryce Cunningham and Cade Smith are also guys with pretty exciting arms in the Yankees farm system as well. With Peralta on an expiring contract next year, the Brewers could be more inclined to move him, but truthfully, I don't know if they would. It doesn't seem like they're really trying to move him right now. It seems like they're willing to hold on to him and try and win in 2026. They need to improve this team in many other ways. Trading Freddie Peralta would be kind of a waving of the white flag. They definitely would be worse in 2026 with this trade, but with the 3 young controllable pitchers, I could see a world where the Brewers would consider this trade, especially because Lagrange has a big arm and has been someone that's been flying up the minor league ranks the last year. But again, is this really a move that they need to make? Do they need to? I don't know. I think they might be able to get more. Truthfully, I think they might be able to get more. I don't think this is enough. All right, let's talk about the Paul Skeens trade. That's never going to happen. Paul Skeens to the Dodgers. What are we doing, Joel? What are we doing? Paul Skeens to the Dodgers. Okay. Yep. Every team in baseball would like Paul Skeens. What are they going to get back? Is it going to be, it's got to start with Josue DePaula, Zaire Hope. It's got to be another big pitcher. Let's see. So it'd be Emmett Sheehan, Andy Pajes, Dalton Rushing, Josue DePaula, Alex Freeland. Not enough. Not enough back for Paul Skeens. It is simply not enough back for Paul Skeens, which is crazy to say because Josue DePaula is one of the best minor league prospects in all of baseball right now, and I love him. I think he's going to be a stud. Andy Pajes is a major league center fielder. We saw some of the shortcomings of him in the second half of the season and in the postseason, but at the worst, he is a fantastic glove with a cannon of an arm in center who's going to be able to give you about 20 home runs a year. Emmett Sheehan is a good starting pitcher, not even close to the caliber of Paul Skeens. I don't know if he ever will truly be a front end 1 or 2. Dalton Rushing, I think, is good. Like these are all good players. Alex Freeland's going to be at the major league level, but like the Pirates are just, you can't move Paul Skeens right now. You cannot do it. You need a Juan Soto going to the Padres type package back, and this is just simply not that. It's good. It's just not that good. It's not the same package like James Wood, CJ Abrams, Mackenzie Gore. Like that was crazy. These guys have all been top prospects-ish, but truthfully, the only guy that's really been ever considered to be like a top prospect in this trade is Josue DePaul. So to me, no, you can't make this trade. And please, can we stop with the trade proposals for trading Paul Skeens? He's not going anywhere right now. Pirates should just pay him. Keep him in Pittsburgh forever. He should never leave. Okay, last one, it's going to be Tarek Skubal. We know it. Tarek Skubal goes to the Chicago Cubs. I mentioned them as a team that I think would make sense for Tarek Skubal. I think that they have the players to get him back, especially if he is on the move, especially if he's not signing that extension. And the Cubs did a similar-ish deal for Kyle Tucker last year. They're willing to take on guys on expiring contracts and move some prospects. Let's see who they would trade. So Tarek Skubal for Moises Ballesteros, Jackson Wiggins, Kevin Alcantara, and Javier Assad. I mean, it probably is enough to get it done. I don't think Tigers fans are going to want to hear it. Is this what I would want back from the Cubs systems? No. Moises Ballesteros mashes, but he's a man without a position. Jackson Wiggins flew up prospects list this year. One of the more exciting pitching prospects in baseball right now. Kevin Alcantara or Alcantara, I'm not 100% sure how you say his name perfectly because we have Sandy. We have different guys that pronounce it different ways. He's been traded twice. This will be the next organization he goes to. He hasn't really figured it out enough to even crack the Cubs yet. He's a man without a spot on the major league roster. He's a 4A guy. I don't think he's that exciting right now. Javier Assad is just kind of a back-end starter. Like, value-wise, the Tigers would consider this. They might even do it. Do I think that this is a good trade for Tarek Skubal? Absolutely not. But we saw what Corbin Burns got on the open market when he was traded to the Orioles. We've seen what pitchers on expiring contracts with Scott Boras as their agent go for on the trade market. I think the Tigers could get more. It's just, would teams be willing to give more for a guy who's going to hit free agency and get paid $400+ million? Like, there's a very good chance you don't retain him. him. Ultimately, don't think you should take this trade, but I would be interested to see what the Tigers would even counter back with, because again, we're missing out some of the big Cubs prospects. Like, no mention of Owen Casey. Owen Casey's awesome. I think that's someone that would have to be included in the trade. I know Ballesteros and Wiggins are 2 and 3, so those are good, but like, might just be those 3 guys, and then you get Tarek Skubal. Even a Jefferson Rojas, I think, is a little more exciting than Moises Ballesteros at this point, just because, again, Ballesteros is kind of positionless. Jefferson Rojas, middle infielder with some good bat-to-ball skills. This is an interesting one. This is definitely an interesting one. I'd love to know what you guys think about all these trades down in the comment section below. Do you agree with them? Do you disagree with them? Do you think any of these will happen? Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more baseball content so you don't miss out, and follow me on all my social media, GiraffeNeckMarc. Links are in the description. That's where I'll wrap it up. You guys know the drill from here on out. YouTube recommends you watch this video. This is my most recent upload, so click through those if you have not yet seen them. Thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.